Right, okay guys, welcome to, is this the last, no it won't be the last Friday Waffle of the year, we've got one more next week. As you can see, with me looking stupid, this is the, I'm not going to call it a Christmas special because there is nothing special about it at all. But yeah, it's Friday, it's the 22nd of December, it's what, 3 days away until Christmas Day. So I hope you've all got everything ready. I am completely unprepared. My wife and I decided that we were going to get Peter Kay tickets. You've probably, if you've seen the news, you've probably be aware that Peter Kay was going to be playing a concert. So we managed to get a couple of tickets. Paid a wee bit more. In fact, not a wee bit more. We paid quite a bit more than we were hoping to get, or hoping to pay. But they were really good seats. I'm really looking forward to the concert, and it's now been cancelled. But you know what? It's, you know, you should always put family first. So I don't blame the guy at all. So anyway, that was going to be our Christmas to each other. But with that being cancelled, my wife is one of these really fussy people when it comes to stuff. I mean, I've lost count the number of Christmases that I've bought stuff, and she simply never ever uses it. So I said to her, look, give me a few ideas. So she gave me a couple of ideas for stuff online, and they're out of stock. So I need to make a mad rush up to the shops tomorrow with my daughter to get some stuff. I've been given one present to buy for, and I've not managed to get it. So I need to get myself sorted out. But anyway, it's I can't tell you how relieved I am. It's Friday at last. As I keep saying, work is just, I cannot put over just hang on, I've got a dog that wants up. Right, come on, up you come. Up you come. I've got yeah, I can't get over just how insanely busy my work has been. It's just mental busy, absolutely mental busy. So I'm off until I'm taking the 3 days off between Christmas and New Year, which is the 27th and 28th. Sorry, 27th, 28th and 29th off, and I go back to work on the 3rd of January. So I think it works out, I've got 11 days off, which is the longest I've had off on holiday for, I think, since, was it in June, July? So yeah, I'm looking forward to not being at work. So hi, what have I been doing this week? Last night I was at a concert. If anybody was born in the 80s, you may remember a group called Marillion. The most famous song was Kayleigh. And the lead singer is a Scottish guy, also called Derek Dick, or better known as Fish. And he was, I was at a place called O2 ABC, or was it the O2 Academy? I can't remember. It was a little kind of venue in Glasgow. I was there last night for the concert. Really good. The support band was excellent. It was a girl who kind of sounds very much like sort of Janis Joplin. Really deep, kind of bassy, earthy kind of voice. Brilliant rock, kind of rock singer. And the fact that she was dressed up in a sort of a steampunk wedding dress was extra special. So yeah, so that was last night. I've not been doing very much. I says my work's just been so busy. I've not even been out running. I've got the park run tomorrow, so I'm planning to get to that. Right, the only thing I was going to talk about, and it was kind of it was one of it was a fellow YouTuber that actually that kind of made me think about this, and it's I can't put out a sort of a Christmas waffle without talking about Christmas. Now, you know, I'm 50 years old now, so I've experienced a few Christmases in my time, but one of the things that I've never had, and it is really, it's a video games Christmas. Now, the reason for that is, when I got my Commodore 64, I bought it myself. When I got my Atari ST, I bought it myself. Same with the Amiga, same with all the consoles, apart from my what do you call it, the Texas TI 1994A, which I think I got it for my birthday actually. I have never actually been given, I've never been given a console or a computer for Christmas, so I don't have that that memory that a lot of you guys have. I'm sure a lot of you have, you know, fond memories of opening up your Spectrum under the Christmas tree or whatever, your Atari 2600. I don't have that memory because I always bought all the systems myself. But Christmas for me, you know, I loved it. When I was a kid, I loved Christmas. You know, it was unlike the sort of this generation. We did not get bought stuff all the time. I mean, if you wanted a toy, you invariably had to wait for your birthday or Christmas. You know, your mum's catalogue would arrive, the winter catalogue, and you would turn straight to the back and you would pick out all these toys that you wanted. And in my case, you know, I wouldn't highlight them, I would tick them, I want that, I want that, I want that, and I'd maybe get a couple of them. I mean, I was mentioning the Evil Knievel, that was one of my sort of best toys, but yeah, I think the only, I mean, nowadays kids get all the time, you know, there's no two ways about it, kids get far more than we ever got. I know every generation says the same, but it is very, very true. But to me, yeah, Christmas, it was the one opportunity where I got to get, you know, a fancy present, whether it was a new bike, whether it was an Evil Knievel toy. Yes, it was a magical time. I mean, there's no two ways about it. But I mean, I do still enjoy Christmas. I mean, I've told you before, my mum and dad have both sadly passed on, so, you know, and I'm an adult now as well. I'm now a parent, so, you know, I don't have the magical, you know, the magical side to it that you have when you're a kid. Is obviously gone. But I'm just going to leave you with one thing. If you're ever going to watch something on at Christmas, if you want to watch something that gets you into the Christmas spirit, it's a cartoon that I completely ignored for many, many years. I ignored it. It was always on Channel 4 every year, and I always ignored it. I always thought, it looks dull, it's boring. Until I watched it for the first time when my daughter was just a baby. And it is the Snowman video, the Snowman cartoon. Is it John, what's his name? Raymond Briggs, I think it is. The Snowman, it's on every single year. I mean, there's a new one, is it the Snowman and the Snow Dog or something. But when I watch the Snowman cartoon, it's the one thing that is able to encapsulate how I felt as a kid at Christmas. When I was 10 years old, watching that film, I become a child again. I don't know what it is, I've got no idea what it is, but the animation, the sound, it's wonderful. You know, it's hard to put into words just how special it is. But like I says, when I watch it, it's like, if you imagine, it basically this, it takes everything that was special about Christmas to me, and it condenses it into this cartoon. And when I watch this cartoon, all the feelings, the memories, the happiness, the excitement, as somebody my age now, it all comes rushing back. It's an amazing thing. I don't know why or what it is about it that captures Christmas for me. But yeah, if somebody was to say to me, what was Christmas like for you as a kid, I would tell them to go and watch the Snowman. That's what my Christmas was. I don't mean I went out and built the snowman, but it just, the whole thing encapsulates Christmas, the joy of it. One last little thing, this little guy here, this little snowman, he's like a little anorexic snowman. Believe it or not, he is actually older than me. He was one of Mum and Dad's original Christmas decorations. I don't know what age he is, he must be about 60 years old. I mean, his head kind of wobbles about, but yeah, he is older than me. I know he doesn't look it, but yeah, he is. When anytime he comes out and sits there, I know Christmas is just around the corner. But yeah, if you've never actually watched, if you've ever dismissed the Snowman as being shite or just being for kids, honestly, stop this video, go and watch it and tell me you didn't enjoy it. Just to kick things right off, I've got Mr. Kevin down the rabbit hole. Hi Alan, have you ever read any paperback novelisations of video game stories such as the Halo books or Gears of War Chronicles? Ever read any fictional books at all based on games? I've got to say, Kevin, I am an extremely lazy reader. I mean, I read so few books. I mean, I know people that read maybe 5 or 6 books a month. I don't know. It's quite embarrassing how few books I've actually read in my life. I was a big kind of Stephen King fan back in the day, but I read very, very little books, which is quite a shame, and it's quite shameful actually, because books helps your grammar. That's probably why I'm not the greatest when it comes to English. And yeah, even if I did read books, I don't think reading books like about video games like the Halo books or that would be something that's really floats my boat. The only book I have read, and you know what, I can't even remember what the hell it was called. What the hell was it about? It was a few years ago that I read it, and it was based on video games. It was kind of set in the 80s, and the guy, he had to oh man, you know what, I can't even remember what the hell the book was about. The guy was trying to solve, it was a puzzle through video games, and I can't remember what the hell the book was called, but it was kind of loosely based on video games. I mean, I do read computer-based books. I mean, I read one, was it Spectrum Addict, and it was all about the kind of 1980s and just the kind of, the guy's thoughts and memories from growing up in the 80s. But like I says, it's terrible how few books I've actually read, so unfortunately I can't give you any answer to that one. So my daughter's got a lizard, he's at an Aki monitor, and he's just taking a hissy fit in the corner there. Yeah, second from Kev. Secondly, I recently posted a review of Carnival Games VR, and I'm beginning to think I will only play motion control minigames in VR from now on. So I suspect my Wii is not going to get as much appreciation as it used to. Yeah, I started watching, I didn't get to watch all of it, Kev. I started watching your video of it. I was just wondering, what do you actually think of it? Because following watching the video, I actually went online to have a look at it. I think it's about 16 quid or something. But interested to know what you think of it. Have you ever had something replace a console in your collection? What do you mean by that, Kev? You're talking about a console being made redundant because of other things? Not so much. I mean, I suppose the only console I would say was replaced was the N64, and that's because, well, primarily I've not really, sorry, I need to move this, I can hardly see with this sort of fur at the top. Yeah, the N64, I'm not a big fan of the N64, but when I did sell it, I knew I had the games, I could play games under emulation. But no, I must admit, I'm a bit of a hoarder when it comes to video games. I mean, even though I can play lots of systems under emulation, whatever, or even like I know I can play the GameCube games in the Wii. Is it the Wii? Yeah, I can play the GameCube games in the Wii. I think you might be able to also play them in the Wii U. You can also play the Wii games in the Wii U. But I still hang on to them all. I've still got my my GameCube, I've still got my Wii, and I've still got my Wii U. So yeah, I generally don't sell consoles, even though I know I could play them. I could play older games in a more modern console. I generally hang on to them. That's just me. I do kind of tend to hoard stuff. And thirdly, I saw on YouTube an ex-employee of a big video game retailer in the US called GameStop, and he said something employees see happen a lot is parents dropping their kids off to the store and going shopping, leaving those employees in a precarious situation of responsibility. Surely you would never leave your kids in a game and wander off shopping, would you? Absolutely not. That is outrageous. I mean, yeah, when your kids get to a certain age and then you know they're more responsible, you can trust them. Then that's fine. But I would never ever do that. I mean, that is just absolutely ludicrous. And finally, here's something only a YouTuber could answer. What's the most number of times you've had to refilm something? I think, you know what, Kev, as you know from my videos, I mean, I don't have the highest production values. I generally don't edit them. I mean, half the videos I put out, or not half the videos, but a lot of the videos I put out, there's maybe bits in it that I should have cut out. So I can't say, I mean, I'm not one of these people that would ever refilm something because I wasn't happy with it. There has been, I think there was one time I recorded a waffle, and for whatever reason, I don't think I'd either forgot to start recording, or else for whatever reason it didn't work out and I had to redo it. And it's very, very difficult trying to sound enthusiastic knowing full well you've already done it. I think the biggest kind of fuck up that I've made when it came to YouTube was when I was doing a Blind Mates Only, and it was my mate Paul E. Moz, and I interviewed Paul, and it lasted maybe about an hour and a half, and then when I actually came to play it back, I realised the quality of the sound was absolutely awful, to the point that it was unusable. I couldn't use it, and I had to actually say to Paul, could you reconvene the following day and redo it? And you know, when you're having to redo a video, you're trying to obviously hide it from the viewer. You want to try and make out as if this was the first time you've recorded it. But yeah, fortunately Paul was up for doing the re-recording, and we went through the thing, you know, right through again in an hour and a half. But that's always my biggest fear, that I record a Blind Mates Only with somebody and it doesn't work out, and then, you know, you've either got to ask them to redo it. I mean, some of these people that I speak to, there's just simply no way I would even begin to ask them, sorry, I didn't press start on the record button, can we redo it? You know, I always look upon these ones as a one shot, and if it doesn't work, then you're screwed basically. But in the main, Kev, I don't think I've had too many problems with videos, because I generally, you know, I record it and it goes out there. I don't really care too much about the quality, you know. My channel is what it is, you know. So anyway, thanks Kev for the question. Next up, Mr. Doug Scullery. Here's a random topic for a waffle. This is a big paragraph. Pretty much all the early classic arcade games, Galaxian, Pac-Man. Now see, I'm impressed, Doug, you called it Galaxian. Most people call it Galaxians with an S, but it's not, there is no S at the end of it. So bonus points for getting that right. Galaxian, Pac-Man, Donkey Kong and the rest had a display which was vertically aligned, i.e. the screen resolution was taller than it was wide. Yet none of the home computers or consoles of that period could replicate that. They all had wider horizontal display. Yeah, that's very true. This led to poor conversions of those games. They always looked strange because the display was not tall enough. I wonder why none of the computer manufacturers included a vertical display option. It was very clear by 1982 that the punters wanted arcade games on their telly. Of course, another quite hilarious option would have been to turn your TV on its side, thus achieving the taller vertical display. I so wish such a game existed. Just imagine instructions. Step 1, wait till your parents go out. Step 2, carefully turn the TV in your living room onto its side. Step 3, now you can enjoy the latest arcade perfect tall screen versions of Galaxian. Step 4, run for your life when your parent... Run for your wife? What? Run for your life when your parents come home and see what you've done to their brand new 26-inch Ferguson TV. Yeah, it's, you know, I mean, it's interesting that you know, no companies ever did that. I think you've got to realise that back in 1982, you know, computers were such a new thing, and even TVs. I mean, you would never have asked anybody to turn a TV on their side. But you know, it's interesting that you've raised an interesting point there, Doug. I wonder why even now, I've never seen any game on like an old 8-bit machine, even like a 16-bit, like a, you know, an Amiga or Atari ST. I've never ever seen them putting an option where you could rotate it. I just don't think it was something that people thought about back then. I mean, obviously you get, I've been playing my PSP quite a lot, and some of the, there's like the Tato collection, there's various arcade collections, there's the Capcom as well. There is an option to spin the handheld around so that you're kind of playing it vertically. What I did notice with Doug was a couple of manufacturers, a couple of publishers did actually put the borders. So if you imagine that's a TV screen, they would put a black border there on either side, and then you would have a small narrow vertical display. I mean, I think was it 1942, and certainly was it not Final Shark? What was it called? Fire Shark. On the Spectrum, it had the borders, so they're basically forcing the display to be kind of, you know, vertical, which made for a very, very small play area, but it did mean that the games were a bit more playable. I mean, the best example of a good shoot 'em up being ruined because of that, I would say, was 1942 in the Commodore 64. You know, yeah, the game was like that, and so, you know, you had virtually no time to react. I mean, it should be like that, but it was like that. So 1942 in the C64 is not the best, but yeah, it's interesting that there's not been any kind of homebrew games that have actually offered that. I mean, when you think about it, there's a lot of monitors now you can rotate. You know, if any sort of software producer is, or any hacker or any programmer is watching this waffle, I would love to see what could be done. If, you know, I mean, obviously you would have to, I know they couldn't physically rotate a Commodore 64 screen, I wouldn't think you could, but it'd be interesting to see if they wrote the game, you know, so it plays that way, and then you could just spin the TV around. That's quite an interesting point, actually. But yeah, it was never something, I suppose when you think about it, I mean, computers, they weren't written for games. I mean, I know Sir Clive Sinclair, he was dead against the Spectrum being used for playing games, even though it just became that. It's the same with Commodore 64. I mean, these were all these machines were written with business use in mind, but that didn't last long. But yeah, so obviously they didn't bring in the hardware with the emphasis on, or thinking that, well, we want to get arcade perfect games on the computer. Games were always going to be a secondary thing. But great point, Doug, and it'd be interesting to see if somebody now was to write a new shoot 'em up, or even convert like a 1942, some vertical shooter, but display it horizontally so you can spin the TV. That would be quite interesting. It'd be interesting just to see how authentic you could actually get it. Yeah, great point, actually. Just excuse me a little second. Right, next one. Thanks for the question, Doug, appreciate it. Next up, let's put that on top of the dog. Next up is Mr. Ian Hunter. First and foremost, Alan, thanks for a great new year, a great year in YouTube. We've really enjoyed your company. Oh, thanks, Ian. That's, you know, I know I sound like I'm not sincere, but I am so sincere when I say that getting feedback like that makes it for me. It really, really does, because, you know, it's feedback like that is, it tells me that what I'm doing isn't shit. And believe you me, there are plenty of times when I put out videos and I think to myself, that is shit. You know, it's poor quality, but then you guys will say, I really enjoyed that, and that means the absolute world. So yeah, thanks, Ian. I really do appreciate you telling me that. Right, Ian's got a couple of questions. Firstly, your favourite 2017 PSVR game? I've not been playing, I know this is, you'll probably think, here we go again. I've not been using my PSVR too much recently. I think just because there's other things going on with the job and, you know, trying to get the time. My favourite PSVR, I'm not going to say game, I'm going to go for experience. Actual proper game, I would probably say Polybius by Lamasoft. That is excellent. But there's been a few other like experiences, other games that you can play. There's one that's a completely free. It's basically a reanimation of this little girl and her mum. It's like stop motion animation, but it's so impressive. You know, you can lean forwards and you know you're basically staring at their face. It's really super impressive. But I think probably the most impressive use of the PSVR so far, it's going to be a joint thing. It's probably going to be, is it Rush of Blood, which is it's a roller coaster horror type game. It's a horror roller coaster game. You're on this roller coaster. You can't move as such. I mean, it moves, but you've got guns, and it's so warped. You know, it really is, but it's super impressive. The other one I'll have to say would be the London Heist, which was one of these sort of experiences that came with the, I can't remember what it was called again, it's one of the games I bought for it. But I was actually looking last night at some of the games, the PSVR. There's a lot of games coming out, and I thought who would be the best person to ask, and it's my good mate Ian Van Kokian. He is the VR meister. I mean, it was myself that got Ian into VR, but what Ian doesn't know about VR games is not worth knowing. So I was asking Ian to give me a couple of games to recommend, and what he said was Skyrim, which I know one of my viewers, Craig's been telling me how wonderful it is. Ian was saying, Skyrim, sorry, Skyfall was a bloody James Bond film, isn't it? Skyrim and also Doom. Now I've got Doom, the non 3D version, and I found it a bit too difficult, and I get the feeling that it might be a bit of a kind of vomit-inducing game for me. So I don't think I'll bother with Doom, but I think I might have a look at Skyrim. So yeah, definitely. And yep, your hopes for PSVR releases for 2018. I think I would just like to see them continue to support it. I mean, I'm quite happy to see that there are a lot of games coming out. There's been quite a few games that have come out in the last couple of weeks. I just want to see continual support, and I'd like to see more full games. I heard that, in fact, I think it was Craig again told me this, but I had read it, that Wipeout that I've got for the for the PlayStation 4, it's going to be getting a free upgrade to work with VR, so that should be pretty interesting. But I would like to see more full price games, full big games. I mean, what do you call it? Resident Evil 7 is one of them. It's a full game. You know, the problem with a lot of VR games is they only last 20 minutes. I mean, there's one of them. Is it Batman Arkham Asylum? Something like that it's called, and it's $15.99, I think it is, and it's only about an hour's worth of entertainment. Now I don't call that value for money, so I wouldn't buy it. I'd like to see more full games coming out for PSVR. I don't mind if the graphics aren't great, but just like really immersive 3D games, VR games, I think that would be really nice. But just to continue seeing support, Ian, because you know, it's a lot of money to buy one of these things, and I would hate it to go the way of like the Kinect and other kind of novelty stuff, and it becomes paperweight. It's far too expensive, you know, for it not to get used. So anyway, Ian, thanks very much for your questions, mate, and thank you for the support as well. Next up is Mr. Jamie Williamson. Number 1. So, did you enjoy The Last Jedi? No spoilers, of course, I've yet to see it. I did actually, Jamie, yeah. I'm not one of these people that read too much into a game. I mean, if you look at the internet, you get all these like so-called film purists, and they'll they'll moan about a film because of this or that wasn't right, whatever. To me, a film is all about entertainment, and I enjoyed The Last Jedi. Really enjoyed it. Was it better than Star Wars? Nah, not a chance. It's never going to be better than Star Wars, but I really enjoyed it. I wouldn't tell you anything. I wouldn't spoil it for you at all, but all I will say is I really enjoyed it, you know, and I think you will as well. Number 2, a follow-up question inspired by us discussing your MAME cab and my arcade stick 80s music soundtrack the other week. How authentic do you feel retro classic gaming needs to be to actually feel authentic? As we both know, there are plenty of real hardware snobs out there, but to me, with a decent emulator setup, with a proper controller and some filters, I can get close enough to what it felt like in the arcade. Do you feel the same, or does it feel like a huge compromise? I've never ever found playing MAME on a PC with a gamepad that authentic. Yeah, you're still getting to play the game, but it's not got the proper controls. But I've got to say, you know, my MAME cab, you've seen it before, I've done a couple of videos with it, and it's there or thereabouts. It's the next best thing. Yeah, it might not have the original artwork, whatever, it might not have the CRT filters, whatever, but you know what, it plays really well, it's got proper controls, so to my mind, it's as near as damn it, and I'm perfectly happy with that. I think the big thing for authenticity has got to be the controls, you know, regardless of how it looks. If you've not got a proper old school joystick, I don't think it really feels like it. But when I'm playing, you know, my MAME cab, it feels just like it, you know. So yeah, I'm perfectly happy with my MAME cab, Jamie. Number 3, are there any classic retro games that Ava likes to play? Talk of the devil, she's just walked in. Ava, is there any classic video games that you like to play? You can just shout any classic video games.
Crystal Pony.
Crystal Pony, that's on the Mega Drive, isn't it?
Yeah.
What other games you used to play? Arcade games? Bomberman, yeah, we like playing Bomberman as well. Yeah, thank you. Right, you can go upstairs now. That was good timing. Sorry, are there any classic games? Yeah, that Eva likes to play. Yeah, we've played a lot of Bomberman on the SNES. A game we used to both love to bits was Rodland. We used to play it all the time. We used to play it in the Xbox, the modded Xbox, with the cheats enabled so that we didn't die. Both like that as well. Got to say, Ava doesn't play the MAME cab much. She doesn't play any real sort of what I would call classic games, but she certainly did play a lot when she was younger as well. Can modern kids truly enjoy classic games for what they are, or are there too many distractions and alternatives now? Well, like I say, Jamie, yeah, Ava used to love playing all the old games. She still does from time to time. You know, I'll fire up the MAME cab, we'll load up Bomberman in the SNES emulator, and you know, we've got the 2 joysticks, the controls for that. So she does enjoy it. I mean, I think if kids were to actually play the games, they would realise that they're huge fun. You know, they're still really good fun to play. But I think there are too many distractions. I mean, I don't believe that there's many kids, you know, of Ava's generation that play old computer games, because why should they play that when they've got their iPad, they've got their phone, they can download free apps, they can get free games, all that look way better than any of the classic games. But I think if you actually sat a kid down and say, right, there you go, there's Space Invaders, there's Donkey Kong, play it, I think they would actually enjoy it. But I think it's one of these things that's, as we all get older, I think there's less and less kids actually getting exposure. But saying that, you go to some of these kind of gaming events, and it always makes me happy when I see so many kids enjoying the old games. I mean, a good game is a good game regardless of how old it is. But I think kids now, they're so used to, you know, 4K graphics, HD graphics, 1080i, 1080p, whatever it is. You know, they're going to look at a game like Chucky Egg and just think, I'm not wasting my time playing that. And unfortunately, they're missing out on a huge mass of wonderful games. And finally from Jamie, if this week's waffle goes out on Friday, which it is, Yesterday, the 21st, was my 49th birthday. You old bugger. How the hell did that happen? You know what, Jamie? I ask myself that every day. I've always, I mean, if you listen to your mum and dad, your grandparents, they'll always tell you the older you get, the quicker time goes. And that is the truest statement you'll ever hear. I remember my life went quite slow as I was a kid because every day was different. You were doing things and you couldn't wait to get to a birthday because you got presents. You couldn't wait for Christmas. And you know, your life up to about 16, maybe even 20 years old was very slow. It took its time. Then when you start working, it starts to increase. Then I think once I hit 30, my life has just went boom. I mean, the last 20 years have just gone in so quickly. And now I look in the mirror and I see this old man staring back at myself and I'm like, how did that happen? Because in my head, I am still 25 years old. I've not get any older. I'm still a child. I still play video games. I still dress up ridiculously. I still have a laugh. Excuse me. I don't know how it happened, Jamie. And I'm not looking forward to the next 20 years passing quicker. I mean, I can't believe that in 10 years' time I will be 60 years old. Yeah. If you find out how it happened, Jamie, let me know. And finally, Jamie says, hope you and the family have a great Christmas, Al. Thanks very much, Jamie. The same goes to yourself, mate. Honestly, again, thank you very much for the support. And next up, I've got Mark the Morose. What he's asking here. In the same racing game video, you mentioned that the controls on the Amiga were, of course, digital. It's a pity because the Amiga was perfectly capable of decoding analog controller signals, but I don't recall anyone releasing an analog controller. Similarly, the Amiga could support 2 fire buttons, but again I don't recall anyone releasing a controller for the Amiga that had more than one independent fire button. I can imagine how much better some Amiga games would have been if both features had been part of the Amiga system. No more up to jump platformers or up to accelerate in driving games. Yeah, that's my pet hate. Having to hold the joystick up the way to accelerate. And Elite and flight simulators with analog flight controls would have been joyous. Joyous! That's my Sean Connery impersonation. Again, your thoughts. I didn't realise that. I never realised that a joystick. Sorry, it was the system that determined whether an analog controller was possible. I mean, the Commodore 64. You get a paddle. Is that not an analog controller? I think it is. But I didn't realise that the Amiga could support an analog controller. I must admit, I never really, when I was younger, I never really knew what analog. When I first heard of analog, became aware of the analog terminology, I didn't really understand what the difference between that and a digital joystick was. It was only later on I realised, okay, analog, you can only move it a wee bit, whereas digital is either on or off. I suppose the first analog experience I had on an Amiga would be the mouse. You know, that's an analog controller. But yeah, again, I didn't realise that the Amiga could support more than one fire button. It would have made a massive amount of difference. I can't even think of any game that supported the 2 fire buttons. Something's niggling me that John Madden's football did, but I don't think it did, because as you say, I don't believe there was actually a controller that supported that. So yeah, that's a big oversight, because a lot of the time that, you know, you got a game in the Amiga, you got a game in the Sega Mega Drive, and it was always better in the Mega Drive, or generally because of the 2 buttons. Like I said, my pet hate in driving games was having to push up, because you're having to hold it up whilst kind of moving it diagonally as well. So yeah, a lot of the time you used to use the 1 fire button. Archie, away from there. I've got a dog walking about. Come on, away you go. Yeah, generally up is accelerate and the fire button is changing the gear. But that always annoyed me. But it's interesting that you say that the system could support that. I wonder why they didn't do it. And finally, from Mark, I noticed a Philips CDI machine the Computer Club snippet in last week's Waffle. What is the club's opinion of the system and its games? Yeah, it's a system that's owned by one of the guys. It's an interesting machine, the CDI. I don't think it was a particularly big success. I mean, the big selling point for the CDI was it was like a multimedia machine. You know, it came in discs, games came in CDs, which was like the future. And a lot of the games, they had all this FMV footage. You know, the games generally were absolutely pants, and it had the sort of full motion video. I can't say I've really played it. I mean, the guy that brings it along, Bill, I've played a couple of games. I can't even think of any game that he's got. There is one. It was actually a Mario game, a Super Mario game, believe it or not. Or was it a Zelda game? I think it was actually a Zelda game that was released for the Philips CDI, which makes it quite unique because I don't think Zelda was released for anything other than Nintendo machines apart from the CDI. It's one system I can't say I've ever really had any real desire or inclination to pick up. I don't really know the system that well. I don't know many of the games that are out for it. The games that I have seen are very kind of quite niche type games. Nothing that really jumps out, you know, to me that makes me think I want to get one of these. But yeah, I mean, Bill had a massive, Bill that owns the CDI, he had probably one of the largest collections of anyone that I've ever met with computer games. And about 2 years ago he decided to downscale. He got rid of virtually everything, but he's kept his Philips CDI, so that tells its own story. Bill seems to really enjoy it. Anyway, Mark, thanks for that, mate. And second for last, Chris, Panther UK. Have you ever played any of the Christmas themed games like Days Before Christmas? And would you consider doing a mashup of the Mega Drive and SNES version of said game? I actually did do. I've not played it for any long sort of lengthy time, Chris, but I did actually put out a Christmas games video. What I might do is actually just bump it because it's still relevant. I might do a wee bump and re-release it. There's not much point in me re-recording that game and the video still stands, so that's what I might actually do. Yeah, Days Before Christmas, I'm sure that's one of the games that I actually played. So, in fact, what I'll do is I'll stick a wee link up there, I think it is, to my Christmas video. So go and check it out. So anyway, Chris, thanks for your question. And finally, Mr. Joe Hunter, if you could have any game from any time console remastered, what would it be? That is quite a tough question. I'm generally not a fan of remastered games because the ones that I have seen where they've taken an old game and brought it up to date. I mean, I've seen like the sort of remastered Manic Miners, and you know, I'm not a fan of remastering stuff per se. But I suppose, I don't know. I mean, like Elite is a wonderful, wonderful game, but I enjoyed it on like the 16-bit because it had better graphics. The newer technology made it a better game, I think. I mean, would we want to go back and play the vector-based one with its flickery graphics and like 2 frames a second? Probably not. If I was ever going to play Elite again, I think I would play it, you know, probably on the Amiga, which is a better version. But I'm trying to think of a game. I'm sure there was a game I did mention once before that I would like to see. I'm just trying to think. You put me on the spot here, Joe. I'm trying to remember. There was a game that I would like to see a remake of, and I can't for the life of me think what it was. I mean, arcade games, I don't want to see. I mean, I've played remakes of like 1942. Have you ever had an Xbox 360? They brought out a series of arcade games on that under the Xbox Live thing, and they always included a sort of a newer version. So you had like Track and Field original, and you had the sort of enhanced version. And I always thought the enhanced versions were rubbish. I'd always stick to the original. I'm just trying to think. What was it? There was a game. and I can't for the life of me think what it was. Nah, in the main, Joe, I'm very much old school. I prefer the original games to remain original games. I mean, all the classic games, Drop Zone. I did an 8-bit face-off kerfuffle on Drop Zone. In fact, I might have not put it out actually, but I did look at the remakes on the SNES and the Game Boy Advance, and they've improved the graphics, they've enhanced the backgrounds, but I did prefer the originals. Like I said, I'm one of these people, I do tend to think, don't try and update it, because it's still, the original is always going to be the best. But yeah, anyway, listen, Joe, thank you very much for the question. So that is it, guys. That is me done and dusted. Yeah, it just really remains for me to thank, again, I know I do this every week, but I do genuinely mean it. Thank you to everybody that has supported my channel over the last sort of 12 months. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I will have one more waffle before we move into the new year. But thanks to all the continued support, to all the questions, watching my videos, liking my videos, commenting, disliking my videos, whatever. It's absolutely wonderful. So I just want to say, guys, thank you very, very much for watching. I just want to take this opportunity to wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas, and I shall see you next week. Thanks for watching.